It's that greatest club of all-time aura, the Bernabeu. That stadium just breathes different energy. You feel it right away. When heavyweights step onto that pitch, they score. 85 minutes, 90 minutes. One goal changes everything. The pressure is absolutely suffocating. For me, Real Madrid is the best football club in history. 15 Champions Leagues, 36 Spanish league titles, a history packed with the biggest icons the sport has ever seen. Di Stefano, Hugo Sanchez, Figo, Casillas, Ronaldo Nazario, Zidane, Beckham, Raul, Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, Kaká, Modric, Toni Kroos, Gareth Bale, Courtois, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, Kylian Mbappe. The absolute elite always find their way to Real Madrid. Yet somehow, over the last 2 years, Europe's most feared football club turned into a complete laughingstock. 2 straight seasons without a trophy, 2 years of total chaos. And the absolute worst part? The crisis hit right after winning their 15th Champions League. They were dominating La Liga. Vinicius Jr. and Bellingham looked totally untouchable. Then they added Kylian Mbappe, arguably the best player alive. Everyone on earth thought this Real Madrid squad would be unstoppable. Then, everything completely collapsed. Barcelona took absolutely everything. The 2024-25 La Liga? Barca snatched it, humiliating Madrid at the Bernabeu and Montjuic. The Copa del Rey? Barcelona stole that too, with Jules Koundé smashing a brutal winner, the Spanish Super Cup. Met twice in the final. Both times, Barca shattered their dreams. And the final insult? Barcelona crowned themselves champions at Camp Nou by beating Real Madrid. 0 trophies, 0 pride, 0 control. And the biggest headlines around Madrid weren't about titles, famous comebacks, or legendary European nights. No, it was AI trash of Mbappe acting like a dictator, AI videos of Tchouaméni knocking out Valverde, and AI fakes of Florentino attacking his own squad. Look, this is not Real Madrid, and Florentino Perez knows it. So the president moved his pieces. Step 1, bring back Jose Mourinho. The special one returns to Madrid. Here we go. The massive deal is officially done and agreed with Jose Mourinho. Everything is set after long talks. But honestly, there was zero doubt. Mourinho always wanted this Real Madrid reunion. The agreement with the special one is locked in. This is the manager who literally stopped the strongest Barcelona side in history, Pep Guardiola's unstoppable machine. A man who ignores big names, massive egos, and jersey sales. Pure and simple. He plays whoever actually fits his system. And frankly, that is exactly what this club needs today. Not another dressing room puppet, like Arbeloa sadly became. They don't need a manager pushing young ideas without real authority either. Just look at Xabi Alonso, his lack of experience shattered that locker room. Madrid needs control, fear, discipline, and a war mentality. Mourinho brings that perfect mix of brutal attitude, raw experience, major trophies, public authority, and ruthless power inside the club. Right now, absolutely nobody is better for this massive job than Jose Mourinho. But this Real Madrid rebuild isn't just about Mourinho. Endrick finally returns to the squad. Nico Paz might also come back to be the engine of this new project. And yeah, Mourinho has to figure out Kylian Mbappe. But the warning is loud and clear. Get on board or pack your bags. Then you have the absolute dream targets, Rodri. Maybe even Michael Olise, though that transfer looks highly complicated. But hey, this is Real Madrid. Nothing is ever truly impossible. Florentino wants to construct a squad that dominates again. A team built on rigid structure, pure hunger, and genuine fear. If Mourinho actually gets the exact tools he demands, then yeah, La Liga and Barcelona are facing a massive Jose Mourinho problem. To grasp the massive transformation Real Madrid is about to undergo, you have to understand Jose Mourinho. Because the special one is far more than just a catchy nickname. His entire resume proves it. His first true tactical masterpiece happened at Porto. After ending his debut season in third, Mourinho flat out promised he would win the Portuguese title next. Then he took it a massive step further. During his first full year, he constructed a legendary treble-winning machine. Porto won the Primeira Liga, taking 86 points from a possible 102. They finished 11 points clear of Benfica, losing just twice. By match day 8, right after Deco put on a masterclass against Benfica, the league was theirs. But the true shockwave hit Europe. During the UEFA Cup quarterfinals, Porto dropped the first leg 1-0 at home to Panathinaikos. They had to fly to Athens into an incredibly hostile atmosphere. Derlei scored to tie things up, then found the net again in extra time to push Porto right through. That exact night, Mourinho's squad started believing they could destroy anyone. Next up was Lazio in the semi-finals. Even when Claudio Lopez put the Italians in front, Porto absolutely destroyed them 4-1. Goals from Maniche, Derlei, and a Helder Postiga double did the damage. Europe was finally paying attention. In the final against Celtic at La Cartuja, Porto survived an absolute war. Henrik Larsson kept Celtic alive with 2 clutch headers, but in the 115th minute, Derlei smashed home the 3-2 winner. Porto lifted the UEFA Cup. They sealed the treble by beating União de Leiria 1-0 in the Taça de Portugal final. And somehow, the very next season was even bigger. Mourinho won the domestic league again by 8 points. He held a 27-match unbeaten streak at home, grabbed the Super Cup, and then conquered the Champions League. Porto finished second in their group behind Real Madrid. Then they shocked Manchester United in the round of 16, winning 2-1 at home thanks to a Benny McCarthy double. Castilla scored in the 90th minute at Old Trafford to send Porto through. That dramatic goal sparked Mourinho's legendary sprint down the touchline. Next, Porto knocked out Lyon 4-2 on aggregate. They edged Deportivo La Coruña 1-0 across 2 legs in the semi-finals. Then, they completely dismantled Monaco 3-0 in the final, with goals from Carlos Alberto, Deco, and Alanichev. That night, Mourinho didn't just win the Champions League with Porto. He officially announced his genius to the biggest clubs on earth. Right after, he walked into a massive Chelsea project still under construction. And exactly how only Jose Mourinho could, he strolled into the room like absolute royalty. I have to say it, we have world-class players, and forgive my arrogance, but we have a world-class manager. Please do not call me arrogant because I speak the truth. I am a European champion. I am not right out of the bottle. I think I am a special one. During his debut season in 2004-05, Chelsea captured their first league title in 50 years, smashing records that still sound absurd today. 95 points, just 15 goals conceded across 38 matches. A defensive masterclass for the history books. Beyond that, Mourinho transformed Stamford Bridge into a total fortress, crafting a 77-match unbeaten home streak in the Premier League. But right from day one, he demanded absolute control. He shipped in guys he trusted from Porto, like Ricardo Carvalho and Paulo Ferreira, and forced the board to buy Didier Drogba instead of chasing flashy stars like Ronaldo. His clear message to Abramovich was pure Mourinho. You pay, you stay quiet. Almost immediately, Mourinho's Chelsea began carving out massive historic moments, starting with the 2005 League Cup final against Liverpool. This secured his very first English trophy, a thrilling 3-2 victory after extra time down in Cardiff. Yet that final is remembered just as much for Jose's wild antics as the actual football. As Chelsea tied it up and Liverpool fans kept singing, Mourinho faced the crowd, pressed a finger to his lips, and shushed them completely. The taunt was so aggressive that police actually escorted him away, sent off before the final whistle even blew. Then came one of the craziest Champions League clashes of the decade. Chelsea against Barcelona in 2005. Chelsea dropped the first leg 2-1 at Camp Nou. It was a heated game where Mourinho claimed referee Anders Frisk and Frank Rijkaard met illegally at halftime. The fallout blew up so fast that Frisk actually retired early after facing severe death threats. Back on the grass, Chelsea needed a miracle comeback, and Stamford Bridge absolutely delivered it. Mourinho's squad fought like wild dogs, smashing Barcelona 4-2. They advanced on aggregate during a truly explosive European night, but the chaotic aftermath cost him a 2-match UEFA ban, which sparked the legendary Bayern Munich myth. He supposedly hid inside a dirty laundry basket to sneak into the dressing room and deliver his halftime team talk. Next up was the Premier League title, clinching victory over Manchester United in 2006. Chelsea crushed United 3-0 at Stamford Bridge, locking down back-to-back titles. It marked the absolute peak of his English dominance, and the celebration was pure Jose. Post-trophy lift, he ripped off his jacket and tossed his winner's medal straight into the crowd. Officials handed him a spare, and he hurled that one away too. He later joked he already owned one from last season, so he didn't need it. Much better to reward the fans. That was his Chelsea era. Total control, chaos, trophies, personality, and history. At Porto, he proved he could transform an average football club into a massive European powerhouse. At Chelsea, he showed that given huge money, pure power, and total control, he built absolute legends. After leaving London, his next grand chapter opened at Inter Milan. Once again, he stepped into a giant club starving for much more than just trophies. They needed real belief in Europe. During his first season in 2008, Mourinho injected his famous hardcore discipline immediately. Inter captured the Italian Super Cup and dominated Serie A with a massive 10-point lead over AC Milan. The domestic engine ran perfectly, but the real mission meant curing Inter's deep European fear. And in 2010, he did exactly that. Inter claimed Serie A again, clinching the title on a dramatic final day against Siena through a Diego Milito strike. They also hoisted the Coppa Italia after shutting out Roma 1-0 at the Stadio Olimpico. Back home, Mourinho's Inter delivered brutal statements. A vicious 4-0 demolition of AC Milan in the derby with goals from Mata and Milito. Macon and Stankovic scored too. Then came a heroic 2-0 derby rematch win with 9 men after Sneijder and Lucio saw red. Pure Mourinho. Absolute chaos outside, total control inside. But the true legend was forged in the Champions League. Inter first knocked out his old club Chelsea, winning 2-1 at San Siro and 1-0 in London. Next fell CSKA Moscow. But the defining war happened against Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, a squad many considered the greatest in football history. During the first leg at San Siro, Mourinho executed a pure tactical masterclass. Inter won 3-1 through goals from Sneijder, Macon, and Milito, while Messi got trapped inside what Italian media dubbed the cage. A brilliant defensive wall anchored by Zanetti and Cambiaso. Every single player took responsibility for wherever Messi decided to roam. Then came Camp Nou, perhaps the greatest defensive stand ever seen in modern football. Thiago Motta caught a red card at minute 28. Inter had to survive an endless wave of Barcelona attacks with just 10 men. When Barca's bench cheered the red card like the match was over, Mourinho marched right up to Guardiola and whispered, "Do not celebrate yet. It is not finished." Inter lost the game 1-0 but advanced 3-2 on aggregate. Mourinho famously called it the most beautiful defeat of his life. Then arrived the grand final on May 22, 2010, Santiago Bernabeu. Inter facing Bayern Munich. Managed by his old mentor Louis van Gaal, Inter defended with flawless order, attacked with cold precision, and won 2-0 off a beautiful Diego Milito double. That magical night cemented Mourinho as a tactical god. He didn't just lift the Champions League, he secured Italian football's first ever treble. Even better, he shattered Guardiola's mighty Barcelona along the way. That massive Inter triumph jammed Mourinho right onto Real Madrid's radar. They moved fast, grabbing him just days after he won the historic treble and knocked out their biggest rival. Florentino Perez handed him the keys. Mourinho gained almost absolute power in Spain for one single mission: destroy the dominance of history's greatest Barcelona squad. His La Liga start looked super promising, but true nightmare fuel arrived in November 2010 during his very first El Clasico at Camp Nou. Real Madrid were destroyed 5-0 by Pep Guardiola's Barca. Florentino Perez called it the darkest night in club history. But the real war kicked off in April 2011. The football calendar served up 4 Clásicos in just 18 days. Guardiola and Mourinho clashed with absolute fury. On the pitch, Madrid suffered in the Champions League at the Bernabeu during one of Messi's truly magical nights, followed by a 1-1 draw at Camp Nou. But for Madrid, the ultimate showdown arrived in the Copa del Rey final at Mestalla. Minute 102. Di Maria floated the cross in. Cristiano Ronaldo rose above the entire defense and smashed a brutal header to secure a 1-0 victory. That strike shattered Barcelona's grip on Spanish football. Mourinho delivered a loud message to Madridismo and Barca fans alike. Mourinho had arrived. Madrid finally matched his energy. The very next season became the legendary League of Records. Mourinho's Real Madrid smashed every historical milestone in Spain. 100 points, 121 goals, a plus 89 goal difference, 32 total wins, 16 away. Absolute madness. The exact moment Barcelona's domestic reign officially ended happened right at Camp Nou. Khedira drew first blood. Alexis Sanchez equalized. Then Cristiano Ronaldo buried the 2-1 winner, silencing the Barcelona crowd with his legendary Calma Calma celebration. But Mourinho's third season turned into a total war zone. It kicked off with the 2012 Spanish Super Cup triumph over Barcelona, won on away goals after dropping 3-2 at Camp Nou and winning 2-1 at the Bernabeu. Yet the campaign ended with Mourinho calling it the absolute worst season of his career. The locker room fractured in half. Egos clashed horribly. Mourinho grew completely paranoid, hunting for moles who were leaking starting lineups to the Spanish press. That paranoia led him to drop club legend Iker Casillas, first for Antonio Adon, then he brought in Diego Lopez, made him the undisputed starter, and coldly told the media, "I simply prefer him as a goalkeeper." The public fallout was toxic. Mourinho openly warred with Sergio Ramos. He even turned on Pepe. Eventually, even his rock-solid bond with Cristiano Ronaldo began to fracture. But despite the endless drama, one massive fact remained entirely clear. Mourinho actually did exactly what Madrid hired him to do. He dragged Real Madrid up to fight the greatest Barcelona team in history, and he conquered them. At his absolute peak, the football world praised Mourinho for pulling off the impossible. He matched Pep Guardiola's legendary Barcelona and finally dethroned them. But European glory remained out of reach in Madrid, ending with 3 agonizing consecutive Champions League semi-final knockouts, leaving the Bernabeu through the special one into a wildly different era. Trophies, total chaos, massive rebuilds, and growing whispers that his managerial magic had faded completely. No, I damaged Spanish football by becoming the manager who finally shattered Barcelona's dominance. First up was his highly anticipated 2013 return to Chelsea. He ran back to Stamford Bridge, openly emotional about his deep connection with the loyal fans. But the old spark felt different. Year 1, he famously labeled Chelsea a little horse in the title race, eventually finishing third behind Manchester City and Liverpool. Yet, he still decided the Premier League fate. He ruined Liverpool 2-0 at Anfield, a game forever haunted by Steven Gerrard's slip and Demba Ba's punishing goal. There are 3 in it now. When his second season rolled around, Mourinho delivered again. Chelsea captured the 2014-15 Premier League crown, fired up by Diego Costa and Eden Hazard. It was his third league title with Chelsea. Incredibly, to this very day, it remains his last domestic league triumph since leaving Real Madrid. Next stop, Manchester United in 2016. United fought hard but struggled in the Premier League, ending up 6th with 69 total points. But Mourinho still managed to snatch the EFL Cup and the Europa League. A clinical 2-0 victory over Ajax kept his flawless European finals record fully alive, even when rivals mocked him for flexing 3 trophies, including the Community Shield. Just look at him. He knows. He's demanding respect for winning 3 things: the Community Shield, the League Cup, and the Europa League. He knows exactly how to control the front pages. Moving into the very next season, United finished second behind Manchester City, their highest league spot since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Mourinho later bragged it was one of the greatest jobs of his entire career. I genuinely consider it one of the absolute best jobs of my managerial career to finish second with Manchester United in the Premier League. People say this guy is crazy. He won 25 major titles, yet claims finishing second was one of his greatest achievements in all of football. I will keep saying it. But after crashing out to Sevilla in the Champions League round of 16, Mourinho dropped his infamous Football Heritage press conference. Do you realize how many United players left the club recently? Look closely at where they play, how they play, and honestly, if they even play at all. That's Football Heritage. Then came Tottenham, a crazy move that annoyed both Spurs and loyal Chelsea fans. His first season was brutally tough, but moving into 2020-21, he told them when the game ends, you will stand right here. It's not just after the game, it's during the game. Tottenham briefly looked incredibly dangerous, even humiliating Manchester United 6-1 at Old Trafford. Still, the project completely collapsed. Mourinho was brutally sacked days before the 2021 League Cup final, which Spurs ultimately lost to Manchester City. Then, he returned to Roma. They couldn't maintain the pace in Serie A, finishing way behind Milan. But he delivered Roma's first trophy in 11 years, taking down Arne Slot's Feyenoord in the inaugural UEFA Conference League final showdown. That made Mourinho the first manager ever to conquer all 3 major UEFA competitions, a massive feat he celebrated with a brand new tattoo. 1 year later, his Roma side reached the Europa League final, only to suffer heartbreak against Sevilla on penalties. It was Mourinho's first ever defeat in a major European final. Then he took over Fenerbahce. Nobody abroad wants to watch the Turkish league. Honestly, who tunes into that? Fans have the English Premier League, the French League, the German League, the Portuguese League, and the Dutch League. Why would anyone go out of their way to watch this? Total chaos. He took a yellow card 20 minutes into his league debut. He even slammed his laptop in front of television cameras to protest a bad referee call, claiming Fenerbahce had to fight the opponents and the whole system. He demanded foreign referees and got a 3-match ban for grabbing Galatasaray manager Okan Buruk right by the nose. On the pitch, Fenerbahce finished 11 points behind Galatasaray. They failed to beat Galatasaray or Besiktas. And Mourinho was fired after blowing a Champions League qualifier against Benfica. People said the legendary manager was totally finished. But less than a month later, he returned to Lisbon with Benfica, the same club he briefly managed 25 years ago. In just one season, he silenced every critic. He led Benfica to an unbeaten league campaign in Portugal, becoming the only team across top European leagues to reach absolute perfection. The